Wemberger, Ed,
Gary Toledo.
Gary,
Sandy.
Andy,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah.
John.
I'm not here.
She's traveling today.
First, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. Want to add a couple items, one to technology. Would like to add parent square update and smart board mount update. Call that technology A3 and A4. And the facilities section, I'd like to add a radio update, the blinds update, and the field update. Call that. Want to do the executive session last or first? Just up to you. What would you prefer?
Let's do it last. Let's get all this other stuff out.
Okay, then, add those as 6B, 2, 3, and 4.
Can you also get the, put the midget roof repair on there?
Oh, and 6B5, Midgeon roof repair.
So this is bait and switch. You made it look like a short agenda. So
I was gonna say, what about the 10-minute meeting? Who said that, Ed?
yeah,
Well,
Jinx this in.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
I was being encouraging.
Yeah.
so,
Thanks for that.
there's a motion on the table.
So,
All in favor?
aye.
Well, fair enough. So approval of the agenda and approval of the minutes. Have a motion. for that.
Second. He
Second,
Ed and Joe
I'm abstaining, I wasn't here.
and Gary abstained.
very.
Okay. All in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
That's why I get you guys. Anybody approved? I mean,
Jeff did.
opposed? No, okay. Public participation, anybody on the public line?
No, there is not.
Okay, we'll kind of skip that section. Discussion, technology. Number one, tech update.
Well, somebody read my mind about the smart boards, because that's what I had planned for my tech update.
Excellent.
So the smart boards were installed last Monday and Tuesday to Torrington and the middle school. All with the exception of one at the middle school. We just ran out of time. And unfortunately, parent-teacher conferences were during the rest of that week, so the installers couldn't get in there. But we have some other boards that are being installed in offices, so we already have plans for them to come back. And so they're gonna do that last board when they come back. Date hasn't been set yet, but it's in the works. So far, I've heard nothing but positive feedback. As I was saying down here, I would like to send out a survey to, ask everybody how they're feeling with the board. I've already gotten one more request for a board with a sliding mount next year. So all is good and it's working as intended, allowing the teachers to use that whiteboard behind their smart board. So looking good on that. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. There's a question about Parent Square and the cost. I have 15,000. And again, it is currently in use in all of the schools, but training will be completed by the summer and be fully rolled out for the new school year. So it will completely replace school messenger.
So it's replacing school messenger.
Correct.
Sue, you have a question?
Yeah, is the 15,000, that's a one-time fee? Rachel,
Yearly.
it's annually 15,000?
Yes.
And then where did that come from? Was it a grant? Or
No, it
general
replaced
budget?
school messenger. So it's just almost a 1-for-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
so
was
same
15.
line item under software.
Okay.
So 5,100, 15. I can't remember the
Okay.
exact of the, whatever the last four.
So we get rid of school messenger and replace it with the add-on to Power School Parent Square.
Correct.
Well, Parent Square is separate. It's not an add-on to Power.
But it'll
But they
talk to each
communicate.
other, yeah.
Oh, okay.
School Messenger was part of Power School.
Yeah.
before.
Correct.
So we will pay less now for Power School because we're not using that part.
No,
So
we
where are
won't pay
getting-
for, we won't pay for School Messenger, but we will pay for Parent Square.
This is the
But
only
I
overlap
thought
here.
school messenger is part of Power School or it's
We
not?
always paid it, you had to pay more. It's like an add-on. It's
Oh,
like an
yeah.
extra
Okay, so
feature
that
that
was
they
my
have. So it's
question. So
always-
we're
yeah.
not paying that now, right?
We are paying for it this year.
Right,
Because
but
we're
after
in the
that-
transition year, correct.
Okay,
Yeah, it's been taken out of next year's
all
budget.
right.
Correct. Sure.
Yeah.
On the Parent Square, is there a way that we're able to block parents communicating with one another through that?
As far as I know, parents don't communicate with one another through that. If you had like an open comment board, perhaps, but I don't see us putting that in place. Like I said, my son's school uses it and they don't have anything like that in place. I can only communicate with his teachers or any other staff that he works with, like music teachers or if like special education staff.
Okay.
Any other questions? Excellent.
So social media update, I decided to do something a little different this time. If it's in the packet, if anybody wants a color copy, I do have them. If you wanna-
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we can. It's prettier in the color.
Yeah.
Even smaller problem.
Is that different than this?
No, it's just-
It's in color. I didn't know it was in the packet.
It's smaller, it's more of the slides than. For this is full page, this is
Yeah.
half page.
I'm going that way.
I have it in black and white. They said this
If you want to
was
see
easier
it,
to read.
pretty version, I guess. So like I said, I did it a little different this time and I went with the top, the post that had the top reach. So it reached the most audience. So for our district page, we had a snowfall announcement. So school closing, but you can see how many people it reached, how many people reacted to it. Which I think is a good point to note because, it does prove that, Facebook is a good way of communication for these things, other than our other forms of communication, we've got the text that goes out, the phone call, the email, but some parents may like to see it on Facebook and apparently are seeing it on Facebook. So I think that was just a good point to make.
Could that possibly omit the 3:54 a.m. phone call between
No.
Steve and John?
Not sure about that.
Yeah.
3:50.
But some people, if I don't do it early, they're like, what, you're late, it's 5 o'clock.
Right, right.
That one will go in infamy, 3:50.
Right?
So for the high school, we had a post about their art show that they did in the LMC. I personally got to see some of the art there and the students did a very good job. But that was their post that reached the most audience. So I thought this was a little more fun than just looking at stats, so we can see, what the kids are up to in the schools as well. And you can see all of the interactions. They got lots of, thumbs up and some comments and some shares. So just some good information there. At the middle school, their top post was their TMF color run. So that's really awesome. That's gonna be coming up on the 30th. If anybody would like to participate, $25 for adults, $15 for children. That reached a pretty good audience, 4,500 people. Torrington had a post about the local YMCA. Looks like they have some events going on, their Ninja Days. gym and swim and ninja and swim. So those are gonna be coming up soon. At Vogel Wetmore, they had a St. Patrick's Day or a Fun Spirit Week. Looks like it was St. Patrick's Day themed, but pretty cute with the kids there getting all dressed up. At Southwest, here it is. They had the St. Patrick's Day band. This is the one I was thinking of. And again, some students. And this was their top post that they've had this past month. Over at Forbes, their top post was their fourth graders visited the New England Air Museum, which is pretty cool. We get to see the students looking at the plane in there. Looks like they're having fun. So yeah, I thought that was a little more fun and enjoyable, getting to see what the kids are up to and, you know, how those posts are being, you know, displayed on social media and the audience that they're reaching. Any questions?
Quick question, how do we handle the comments? Are they automatically approved? Does somebody approve them? If they're auto approved, does somebody police them?
There is a social media representative for each building and they view all the comments and filter them.
So they view them before they're there? Are they approved? Is it a gatekeeper system or is it the comment is live instantly and somebody reads them to look for?
I believe it is live instantly and then they respond.
Okay.
Her name is Jeff Buckets.
I was just curious if we've considered the alternative,
Yeah.
seeing the,
Yeah, I think it would probably be wise.
you see I saw it on the 3-hour delay one, which generated a lot of comments but in both directions. So I just thought
I
maybe,
didn't read this.
yeah. it's- Well, it just,
So
if we're,
apparently we were a hit on the snow day, but not on. the
yes,
free
on
day.
well, notice there were a lot of comments on that one. So I just wonder if, since we're so in tune with our social media vision or image, I should say, I wonder if sometimes those comments, sometimes there's a comment that has no place. Everybody has entitled to their opinions, of course, but sometimes there's a comment that just shouldn't be there.
Absolutely. I just started working with our social media reps when I took over this whole social media update thing. So we're working on, you know, some of the accounts weren't even business accounts yet. So we're working on moving everything over, getting passwords and stuff so that we can get this data. So the more I work with them, I think the more granular we can get and we can certainly.
Thank you.
Are they anonymous comments or?
No,
Mm.
Well, unless your Facebook is not you.
not you.
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Any other
Yeah.
questions?
Mm.
That's all I have.
Moving on, facilities. Torrington driveway update.
So this is.
Still. See, you didn't say-
Year number 3.
So this is more of a question for the board with hopefully an answer back from you. We did, as you may be aware, we did all the engineering to correct the Torrington driveway with BL Companies. They've come up with the complete spec and the redesign of Torrington driveway. I know that what we do is provide you guys with the RFP to review and approve at the board meeting. Is that still for this year? Is that still the direction you would like me to go? Considering that we've done all of the, the engineering was all done by BL and you guys approved all of that, or is it okay for me to put our boilerplate on their spec and get it out? So it will be done this summer.
How much do you think it is?
I don't know. It's gonna be, my guess is the correction to the end of that driveway is probably gonna be almost the amount of money that we put into the initial driveway. So that was about $45,000.
Yeah. What's the drawing? again? Remind me what the design is?
So they're taking the driveway, they're gonna remove the intersection they don't like, they're gonna turn it. They have to widen it, they have to do the ADA, all that stuff. They want trees planted,
I thought that this was discussed and it was a matter of making an ADA accommodating and like one other little change.
And the
No,
gate-
they-
they-
A
they
gate
want a big-
stop.
The bus would
They
have
wanted
avoided
to
all of
fix-
Right,
this.
yeah, they came back with something different.
Right.
So, I mean,
That sounds reasonable.
my only question to it is, do you want me to, I'll do it at next month. I'll put the boilerplate onto their spec and give it to you so that you can review it. It's just something that's been sort of on my radar coming, that I know it's gonna happen this summer, so I can do that, or we can just go out to bid and then bring the bids back next month.
I'd go out to bid. I'd put out the bid, but
I'm fine with that. If it's just gonna be the bid spec that.
It's gonna be the bid spec that BL, I'm not adding anything to it. They're the ones that designed the whole entire bid spec. The only thing I'm gonna put on it is, and you guys see that every month, is the same boilerplate that we always put on it with all of our legal mumbo jumbles.
I'm gonna ask because I don't know. This is the driveway that was added, the one that curves around like.
Yeah.
Can I get the like 90-second version of what happened?
So,
there's a-
yeah, so we put the driveway in and we did not go through zoning and we were turned in by a taxpayer who then prompted zoning to come out and take a look at the driveway. Zoning said, yeah, we don't like it. They didn't like the entrance that comes in on the Charles Street side. So they want us to create a separate entrance so that it's not sort of a wide intersection at where the buses exit.
Crossing over the driveway.
Okay,
So we had to come up with, we had to hire BL companies. Thank you, Gary, for the recommendation, and we got them out here. They bid the project. They won the bid to do the design work. It's done. All I need to do is now just take their stuff and put it on our boilerplate and I can go out to bid. So,
Is this the same BL companies that's doing the construction management on the building?
yes,
The same BL
And
company?
yeah, they're the third, what do they call them? The third party. Yeah, they're our third party rep out there.
yeah.
They're good for 'em.
But we bid. The
Yeah,
idea is
yeah,
that we already bid the.
We did the design work,
Right.
so now it does have to go out for, you know, who's gonna take their design work and apply it to the
Right.
project there.
I'm fine
So
with you
I'm only asking that because I just, instead of lengthening up the process, if you guys are okay with it, I would be fine just doing that. If you want me to,
It's easier if you do it. I mean, sooner the better, because even though people are slow, closer we get to warm weather, the more, the less likely they're gonna. I mean, it's gonna be 45,000, I bet, but that's not that big a job for anybody.
Right.
You have to bond, at least, we require bonds or no? I forget.
that one it's under 50, I wouldn't require a bond on it. We didn't do a
As long as
bond on
it's
the initial
qualified.
project, so.
We'll know if he's qualified. We'll know what they are, public anyway.
Yeah.
I doubt that they'll be coming from Bridgeport to do it.
No,
So
Bid it right away. The plans are specific. They'll be very specific plans.
Well, no,
we're at the end, right?
yeah, we can just sort of agree. We don't actually have to vote on that. Because it's not in the board's bylaws that we have to see every RFP. So we can just as a group say that's fine. There's no action on the part of the board.
So we're all in agreement that we can send it out to bid with
Yeah.
B and L design and specifications as is.
Yep.
to add Torrington Board of Ed boilerplate for.
Request for proposal.
Bid.
For proposal. Bid package.
That package. So I'll start putting that all together tomorrow and I'll get it out as soon as possible.
Great, thanks.
All right. You good?
Yep.
Radio update.
So the company is coming back to, they came back and they've done some fairly extensive testing. They went to every single building, upon doing that testing. They are coming out to do a reprogramming of the radios next Monday and Tuesday. At which time, we did have that discussion with them about the 7,500 radios. And the 7,500 radios are still, they're slated to go back and have the hardware updates done to them and get sent back to us.
Model 7,500,
Yeah, model 7,500. Yeah,
not 7,500 walking.
yeah, not 7,500 walkies, yeah, model 7,500.
So we're gonna send them back. And when are we gonna send them back after the school year or?
No,
before the school year ends?
they're providing us, they're gonna provide us with loaner radios.
Okay.
They're gonna take half of the 7,500 models. And which is 15 radios. Those will go out. When those 15 come back, then the next 15 will go out and the loaner radios will remain in place so that we will never lose radio coverage.
Okay. And rough turnaround time to send them out and get them back?
I don't know that. I would think that it's gonna be turned around fairly quickly though.
Okay.
They want this off their plate as
If
well.
you gotta do it twice, then if it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks for one batch of 15, then it's gonna be another 8 weeks for the other batch of 15, which is 16 weeks. Which
Yeah,
is-
they didn't specifically give me an answer on how long the turnaround was, so I can't answer that.
Okay,
Glenn, can I say-
sure.
why do they have to be reprogrammed? Aren't they brand new radios?
They are, what the plan is in the reprogramming is that, there is one repeater channel in every single building. The repeater channel is currently programmed to the admin side. And what happens with the repeater is it actually allows the radio to transmit better throughout the building. But the admin channel is limitedly used in the buildings more so than the staff channels. So the decision was after we went through and we did all the testing and they physically saw the amount of use that was on the staff channels, they decided to put the staff channel on the repeater because it had more usage in the building and it transmitted much better signal throughout the building than it did from a point to point or radio to radio signal. So that's what they're going to do is they're going to reprogram the radio so that the staff channel is on the repeaters and the admin channel is a point to point.
So did they recommend how we programmed them initially, or
Yes.
so do we get any kind of credit for the inconvenience of all of this?
No.
Because we've pretty much been without for so long.
Your radios are working. Are they working 100%? No, they're not working 100%, but they are working and they are able to use them. So I don't think you're going to get a credit back from them.
But they're also not charging us, right?
They're not
Right,
charging
they're
us for
just-
any
they're
of this.
making it right.
Right, they're making it right.
I mean, I think we should be getting something back for the amount of money we spent. Go ahead, Jim.
Sue first.
It's kind of too late now, but when they did their initial testing, why didn't they pick up on any of this? I thought they did quite a bit of testing before the radios even came out, didn't they?
There was extensive testing on in the building as to reception across the building in areas that were known to be problematic with the old radios.
Right.
But that testing was done without repeaters in the building. The repeater is a computer more or less that's hooked onto the network and it those weren't in the building at that point in time. And
So that's making it worse, the reception versus better,
No.
having the repeaters in the
No.
building?
no, repeater doesn't make the repeater makes the reception better.
Okay.
And it allows, what the repeater also does is it allows the radios to be transmitted over long distances. So for instance, I can stay here at Midgeon Avenue and I can talk to the middle school bouncing off
Right.
the repeaters up the hill.
So they did their initial testing in the areas of the building that were most problematic without the repeaters.
Correct.
So theoretically, when they put the repeaters in, it should have improved, not gotten worse.
Remember, the repeater is only on a single channel. It's not on every
But it
single
still has
channel.
gotten worse, right?
It hasn't gotten worse.
It didn't do any, it
No,
didn't.
it hasn't gotten worse. It was when we brought the radios in, we had problems initially. We worked through those problems. They identified the problems at the 7,500 radios, which are going to go out for repair.
Mhm.
They've made some corrections along the way. They've done additional testing along the way. They have improved the radio communications from when they first got in the building. So it's been getting better and better.
I just want to make a statement that this kind of goes to one of the reasons why I feel like the board should be more involved in decision making when it comes to buying products like this. Because it's been, I feel like more often than not, a lot of the vendors that we've been dealing with have been problematic. Some of the services that we should be getting, we're not getting. I just think that we should be more involved when purchasing, whether it's if in a lot of that, I think we aren't involved because grants are being used to make these purchases, so it doesn't have to come through the board. I don't think that necessarily is the best way to go about it. That's just my 2 cents for the record.
Noted. Jeffrey.
So just so I understand, this is sort of along the lines of Sue, but a little bit of a turn. The radios were not working on the staff channel up to par. So they moved the repeater, which is a single radio channel only, onto the staff and took the admin off of it, which would then make me think that the admin would start to experience the same problem the staff has been complaining about.
So
We've moved the problem to a smaller portion of the group. Is that not something, an additional repeater? Is the solution not to shift it, but to talk to the vendor about fixing the coverage with an additional repeater radio channel? Because it sounds like we've shuffled the problem from one group to another.
So the problem with the radios is more than just the radio itself. And it's more than just shuffling a problem back and forth. If you want to put another repeater in, you're probably talking about, to get a repeater onto the second channel, you're probably looking at close to $100,000 in cost to purchase the repeaters, additional above what you've already purchased, to put additional repeaters in. A large part of the problem that was noted out in the buildings, and training has been offered to all of our staff at PDs, and actually Shelley Rinaldi requested NORCOM to do a video on how to properly use the radio, but it's mostly been user error. When you have a building that has 65 radios in it, a 65 radios, these are not cell phones. You can't have 65 people talking all at the same time. So when one person's on the radio talking and another person keys up the mic, it cuts everybody out, and they have to learn, that there needs to be some changes, and we're working on that with our committee, our safety committee, on what needs to be transmitted over radios in the buildings and what doesn't need. There's a lot of useless conversation that's going on that doesn't need to go over the radio, right? So we need to set some protocols on what should be transmitted over the radios and what shouldn't.
I can I comment on that? I guess I'm wondering about the training, because as a teacher, I've not been offered training. So I don't know when that was offered. I haven't been offered that training. I also have a concern as a teacher, if I have a radio in my room, which I do, and someone else is speaking, and I understand that, but if it's an emergency, I have to wait until another person is done speaking before I can speak. And I understand they're not cell phones. I get all of that, and there still are issues. And hopefully the moving to the repeater, the teachers or the staff to the repeater will help that. But I just have a concern that, yes, maybe we have to override, but how do we make that decision to say you need to override because this is an emergency, or it's an emergency and that call's it's not getting heard, and therefore the response time is more than it should be. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but and as far as the training goes, that's my number one question. When was that offered?
It was offered to every single principal when we did our tour in the building.
Principals.
Every single principal was told that they could provide training. We can incorporate training from the company at a PD day. And it would be 5 to 10 minutes of training. That's all we would need.
So are we talking PD day or are we talking PLC day?
PLC.
Yeah,
PLC
PLC,
day.
I was gonna say.
PLC.
So are those upcoming? If the principals have chosen to have those, is that something that's already occurred or something that's coming up?
With the admins, I believe it already occurred, correct?
But with staff, it's
It already
upcoming.
occurred with the admins.
So then it'll be offered to staff at, say, the April 27th PLC or the May
So,
18th PLC.
so the admins are still discussing on how they want that to come into play, because there are also many other things on PLC days that have to be tagged as well.
Right.
And taking time away from those things are also, which has of equal importance.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why Shelley had suggested, and I thought was a good idea, that Norcom do a video series so that it could be shown and viewed at any point in time without disrupting things that have to happen during those days.
Okay, so that's a clarification then, because what I heard you say was staff has been offered the training. So offered to me means already happened. So that's why I'm asking that clarifying question. So it's upcoming. Principals have gotten it, but it's
Right.
upcoming for
Right.
staff.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
I gotta jump in between you two guys. So just so we're on the same page here, the training that was offered was for the principals. Was the expectation to be train the trainer on that training? Or are we expecting Norcom to come back and also do additional training sessions for staff?
No, Norcom offered to come back and do additional training sessions for staff.
For staff, okay.
So they trained the principals on radio protocols, and then it was offered to the principals to give them dates, times, or whatever, that they could have Norcom come back and train the staff.
Okay, so it's in the admin's hands right now to schedule additional training for staff on proper use of these staff radios.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that additional training or is this their first training? Because a lot of times in rollouts of technology that you have to do the training, or at least some of the training offered first, because you're saying a lot of this is user error, which is frustrating for the correction, right, John? The correction.
It's gonna be,
is hard.
it's gonna be their first training, and it actually came from Gary. Gary was the one that had asked that we bring them out and we do training. We didn't do initial training because we assumed that we were using radios and that we knew how to use radios, and with the new radios, they certainly function slightly different, so it
Okay.
would be their first.
And maybe they get it, maybe they
You're
prioritize.
out of turn. Fiona's next.
So John,
Didn't
I
see
don't
it. I
blame
just-
you at all for this debacle. I just feel very strongly that Norcom dropped the ball for the amount of money we spent on these walkie-talkies. They should have done training right out of the gate. Addressed what the problems were. They knew what we were using these walkie-talkies for. They're our main line of defense. And now here we are, another year has passed. We still don't have viable walkie-talkies that people know how to use. And I think they dropped the ball. It's their product. They should have rolled it out appropriately for almost $400,000. I just think they did a terrible job, and all of the staff should have been trained.
I have a question when, in regards to that. Normally you don't make final payment to vendors until it's, substantial completion. Was that decision made? Are they paid in full on this?
They're not paid full yet.
So we paid in full before we actually have it.
They're not.
Oh, they're not. I'm sorry. Okay. And how much we hold back? 10, 5%?
The contract was 215, somewhere around 215,000, and I think they've received a payment of 180.
So with that dollar amount, did we have a performance bond on this as well? No performance bond on a $400,000?
It's not 400,000, it's 215.
No performance bond
No
of
performance bond.
215,000. Okay.
So what is the rest in the grant then? Because what we had in the walkie, we can do that after we don't do it now.
Just-
Sorry, Michelle.
Okay, Gary, you had your
To get
question.
us, I mean, can we just prioritize the staff being, it's not up to you, I know that. But I think we should hopefully somebody prioritizes that the staff gets immediate training. The problem, there is overlap, I mean, you're an expert in this stuff. If there is overlap because they're misusing them, then they need to be trained immediately. So that if it's, 100% over what it can handle as capacity. Like you said, protocols, this is what you use it for, this is what you don't use it for. There's 100 in the room, in the school, we need to train those 100, but so that we're only using 10 at a time or 5 at a time. But just get that done immediately. At least that's one step that can be taken.
I can work with the principals on that. We can schedule it.
I mean, as long as I think the principals just need to know the importance of this. For
Okay.
the, you know, for the teachers.
All right, Ed?
Yeah, just a quick thing, kind of to what Jeff was mentioning earlier about swapping the staff channel onto the repeaters. The 7,500 models, those are the admin radios, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so then that should help mitigate any potential problems that they're all going to be getting new hardware by the manufacturer.
Correct.
Okay, right. So just because I wanted to make sure that was clear that we'll solve.
And then
some of
by,
that
and then
problem.
also,
And,
just to elaborate on what Jeff said. By switching, you're then taking 177 radios and putting them on the repeater and putting 30 radios not on the repeater. So the overlap of crosstalk and stuff. The admin channel is sort of for potential confidentiality within the building. If there's something that needs to be discussed amongst the admin on a certain situation or something in the building. So it's limited because there's not that many radios in the building when you're looking at the 30. So the overlap on talking on admin won't happen so much as it does with the regular staff.
Good.
Are there different channels? Cause I know
There's,
we have like a channel 1, 2, 3, but
there's,
channel 1 is where you talk and channel 2, if it's confidential or an emergency, you go to 2.
there's actually many different channels. There's, every building has its own staff channel that's individual to its building. Every building has an admin channel that's individual to its building. The two larger buildings, high school and middle school, have an additional direct channel. So it gives them an option, another option for a channel to use. Because with the amount of kids that we're dismissing at those times, there's, you can't have that many radios running at the same time. So we use like one channel for walkers, one channel for buses, that kind of stuff. And then you have the emergency channel, and the emergency channel interlocks every single radio in the district together.
So if with Sandy's issue, or scenario, if there was an emergency, then they would go on the emergency channel?
So the emergency channel is in place right now, and what we have told the administrators is until we develop the protocols on how the emergency channel gets used, we prefer that the emergency channel doesn't get used because it also ties to the local police department right now. And we don't really have a protocol. What's an emergency? If a student gets a paper cut and they're bleeding in the room, is that deemed an emergency that they need to call the police department for? So we need to develop a set of protocols for that.
That's offensive. To make a comment like that if somebody's calling an emergency a paper cut, I understand your frustration. I do, John. I get it. I understand the frustration of being in the building and making a call and not having that call be heard and making that call again. So I just think it's when you talk about what needs to go on a radio and what doesn't need to go.
Point of order, sorry.
Sorry, I
Say your point of order.
I don't think this is an appropriate time to have that conversation. I think it's just a matter of opinion and how you feel, Sandy. I'm sorry, but I don't want John to be the target of that.
Yeah, I don't think he meant any ill will in that comment. It was just a scenario, which, which can happen. So I don't think he meant any harm in that.
But it all goes back to training. Just-
Yeah,
mean,
do we have anybody else have questions on the radios? Okay, so going forward, we need to arrange some staff training. Correct, we're gonna arrange some staff training. The 7,500s are gonna go out for repair in 2 batches of 15. The other staff radios are hopefully gonna be working better because they changed the programming. So let's see how it goes from there. Is it regarding radios?
Yes. And it wouldn't hurt to ask for, like, because of the situation we're in and things didn't work out, to Fiona's point, ask for a refund or something. Do you know what I mean? Do you think that's appropriate?
Let's up to John, see what he can do. It's
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to ask. The worst they can do is say no, but. I mean,
depending how
stress-
it flies out, maybe some additional training hours. Or
Right,
something.
right,
Something, throw us a
something,
little bone on something.
right,
I
but
guess
just
is
to
what they're
stress
asking
that,
for.
it was really a hardship on our
So, and we do have
district.
so we also do have an emergency channel that talks directly to dispatch at the PD.
Yes.
On the current ratings.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that was good. Thanks for the update, John.
You're welcome.
And I don't think Sue meant any ill will either. If you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Um,
I don't- what are you talking
As far as being more involved in the bid process, I think
Oh,
we're gonna
right.
be here to aid and help. I think scope of work. And things like that, if we all work together, not try, I think what she's trying to say is we can help in the process. A little bit more, so it's not all the burden is just on one or two people.
Right.
Let's put all our heads together, to come out with a tight specification, scope of work and everything like that. And I think that could help be beneficial for everybody. All right. So let's go on to the next one, blinds. This one should be a little bit easier.
Done.
Blinds are
Oh,
complete.
good.
Yay.
Next.
100%.
That's brevity for you.
I have
There you go.
No. Point of order, Gary can't speak. It's-
Anybody have questions on the blind?
No.
One question,
No.
Thank you.
do we need training on the blinds?
No. We'll find out.
That's next month's agenda.
Quick update on the field.
Done.
Nice.
Yay.
That's
Oh, that's the softball field, right?
Any comment?
Yay.
Girls played on it tonight.
Excellent.
Is that right, Glenn, tonight?
Yeah.
This
Played
afternoon?
Monday, Wednesday.
Monday they played on it.
Yeah.
Did they play tonight? I thought they had a game.
Is it today Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, tonight.
So how did it go Monday?
Yeah.
No comments at all?
Ellen wants to know
No.
on Monday.
How did Monday
Ellen wants to
go?
know how it was on the field Monday.
It's good.
Okay, good.
Better. Is that a better word?
It's better. We're gonna leave it there.
Can I ask a question?
Shoot,
Or no?
fire away.
No, never mind.
Point of order.
I was just gonna ask if.
You spit it out.
Was it worth the $20,000? No. Is there something that we should look at being fixed or done better?
No, I think for right now, it's better than it was.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, are we gonna have to put more money into it to get it?
No, we're definitely not gonna put more money into it, but it's, I think our scope of work and some quality control could have been improved. I don't know if you've gotten any feedback on that at all, but we could talk offline like that. It's all little stuff, but great job on that thing.
And we can work with Mike McKenna on that if there's any issues that the players are seeing or the coaches are seeing.
Yeah, follow up with Mike and the coach and
Okay.
get their feedback. That would be best to do that.
I actually talked with Mike. We were on the field on Monday prior to the game, so we had to make some adjustments to the field, which we did on Monday.
Okay. Cool. Midgeon Avenue roof repair.
So I did pass the sheet out earlier, so you have it. We talked about this earlier on. No real decision was made as to what we're gonna do, but we do have a fairly major problem with the roof here. It is leaking at every rainstorm that we have. The repair that I'm looking to do is only one side of the roof, and that's the side that's on that side of the building. It's I don't know, did he put the squares in here?
No, I don't see the squares,
No,
but
he didn't put the squares in there, but it is the main section of the roof that faces south. The south facing main section of the roof. That's the one that when you go up in the attic, you can actually look out through the roof and see light. So we're not looking to strip the roof off. We're not looking to,
summer
So
ventilation.
these are asphalt shingles on here?
these are asphalt shingles.
Okay.
So we're not looking to strip the roof
Back.
off. We're not looking to do anything crazy. We're not looking for 50-year shingles. We're just looking to stop the water from coming in, and this is the repair that would address that. I did not do anything more than when I received this bid. I have no idea. Really, this vendor was recommended by our rep that does all of our roof and our insurance stuff for all of our roofs in the district. He's the one that said, I have somebody that could bid the repair for you, and so that's the number that they gave.
So you have a question?
I do. Is there, is it the leak? Are shingles missing from the roof from wind, or is it
There's
wear and tear?
it's the roof is just past its usable life. There's a a couple of shingles missing, but, it's, the shingles are shot. It
Should-
need to do some recover work.
Should we go through go through insurance for that?
That's
Have them
not-
look at it?
it's-
Yeah,
Think so, really? Yeah, sure.
absolutely.
You're the expert.
If it was wind,
Well, you
There's,
talk to them, right? If
I
the
feel-
vendor was recommended to us by the insurer, I'm sorry.
no, I just feel like that it should possibly be inspected by an adjuster. And it's saying too that the repair will not match the rest of the roof. Connecticut has a matching law where it has to match. Which
if
would
you're,
require the whole roof being replaced and covered by insurance.
This isn't in historic district, right? It's historic building.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's old, but not historic.
So who would we notify the city through insurance? How would that be?
We'd have to call
Call
Kermit.
Karma.
I would, if we could do that before committing to anything, to have an adjuster file a claim. Or contact whoever needs to be contacted. And have them do the inspection, because there are laws that, as far as matching goes, and if there's shingles missing, then that's possible wind damage.
We did have a very windy weekend.
Yeah, I did see one come
Well,
up. I did see two come up that week.
it's 2 years, and if the storm is within, it's a 2-year window from when the storm could have occurred to when the
Oh, really?
damage was.
I mean,
It's not just,
when I say that there's shingles missing, there's like 3 shingles.
Doesn't matter.
missing. It's,
it doesn't
It could
matter.
cause
If
rot.
there's one shingle missing,
Cool.
it's their matching law in Connecticut requires they replace the whole roof. So I think I think it's worth investigating.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt to ask, just ask.
Now, if that doesn't work out on this proposal, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah.
If you're gonna find rot up there somewhere, so. I think that this may not, he can't bid off of what. This, if he gives his bid, it's based on squares, so we do need to be prepared when they start pulling this stuff up. There might be.
Well,
some-
exactly.
Quite a bit
So
of rot
that's why
under
we
there,
need
so.
somebody, I think,
there may be.
Yeah.
we
No
really
A.
need a significant review of the roof.
you can see out the roof.
There's a few areas where I can go up into the attic and I can look out and see light.
There will be rot.
You want to come up and check it out?
Yeah, I'm good.
I actually can too. I want to see it.
We have 2 years left, just this building.
I know.
That's it.
Right, so we want to do this as cheaply as possible.
Just a patch.
Insurance will cover it, then just,
No, I'm saying if they won't.
if they won't,
Yeah,
right,
Gotcha.
The laws only applies in an insurance
it's
claim,
raining.
though. So if you
Right.
don't,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, even if they find some rot, as long as in my opinion, as long as the tabs work. Try not to replace it. And buy more buckets.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy more buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just so the area we're looking at possibly replacing, will that solve the problem of water pouring into other
Yes.
people's offices?
It's the only place on the roof where we have water coming in.
that's all, water's only gonna lead to mold, which would make the bigger problem, so. It needs to be addressed, let's ask the insurance company, and.
Yeah.
As far as like Gary was saying, if that doesn't work out, we're ready to pull the trigger on this proposal. To Gary's point, with the understanding that $9,500 can easily go over that once they start pulling it off, especially due to note A here. There will be extra charge for removal and replacement of deteriorating wood substrate if required. Chances are it's gonna be put, so.
Trying to minimize it. Or just do the tabs and ignore it. 2 years down the road, we're out of here, but we'll
Hopefully.
have to decide when you get there.
With the understanding.
Yeah.
That's probably gonna go over that.
Yeah, and then whatever the result is of either talking to insurance or whatever,
Right.
just bring it. So you just say, agree as a committee that we're fine with it going to the board at the next meeting when you have it. So that way you don't have to come back to facilities with this.
Agreed. We gotta
So
vote or
we'll
motion that
call
or anything.
Kermit tomorrow. and get it out.
Yeah, see if they can
Note it.
check it out. What if you're,
So that being said, then we get Kerma out here. And Kerma says, let's just say, for instance, they say, yeah, no, it's a no-go on insurance. This is gonna go to the board at the next meeting, then that's my
Yep,
understanding.
Which
Okay.
is at the end of the month, so we got.
I just wanted to be
one-
clear.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
Yep.
if they say no, I would like to see why.
I
I know, I'm just saying, I'm just. putting it out there.
I just wanted to clarify how this ends up at the meeting.
Yeah,
Yep.
I understand, but I definitely would like to, if they say no, I'd like to
What's
see
the
in
reason?
writing why.
Sure.
what their position
Yeah,
is.
we'll
They
get
gave
something
that to
in
us though.
writing.
They give us an update.
And move the cones where the bricks are when they're coming.
Move the what?
Move the cones.
The bricks that fall off the face of the building.
Okay.
I can't.
Yeah, don't let them see
Any other questions on the roof? All right, I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session on school security. Inviting in everybody except for who you, I don't know, who you tell me who should have.
Yeah, you just have to, and you have to turn it off.
You gotta shut it off.
Rachel.
Rachel.
And Rachel.
Rachel needs to stay
Um,
for executive session.
Okay,
everybody
Sue
else-
and Kim are on the phone.
Um,
Sue Ferguson and Kim are on the phone.
yeah, they can't. We have to cut that off anyway.
Sorry, guys.
Why?
Mute it.
We never. have to-
Because it's executive session.
I know, I
Executive
thought that
session.
some of this, I thought that changed.
That's what I,
No,
no, I thought,
Fiona?
The law changed, but we're trying to shut, you guys are trying to shut the whole Vimeo
oh,
down, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if the Zoom can stay active, if that's fine.
Can shut
It would
down the
just be
public line?
Yeah, if the
the-
law changed.
Yeah, we could
Okay.
put them in the waiting
Yeah,
room.
but we could bring them in. Like,
well, there is no one on the public line.
There's no one there, but yeah, we can just. move it to
still
the
shut it
waiting room
down.
Just in case anybody was to join.
Yeah, that's